parenting family from across the globe. Thank you for joining me for another interesting episode of our program, the Slow Parenting Podcast and live stream on YouTube via Nostalgia Media. My name is Richie Adewusi. Today we want to introduce a steroid for talking. You know, you've heard us say, keep talking, talk points. You've heard about it before, you've seen it, but then we want to take you through why it's important. Okay. Now, as a way of background, if you've ever, as a parent, felt like, how do I say this? Well, I'm saying that because over the years, you finish, you're done, or during the training or during seminars, workshops for parents on parent-child communication, you say, how do I say that? When do I say that? Where do I say that? And then you train young people, children and young people as peer educators. I can't say that. I can't ask my mom, dad. We don't have that kind of a relationship. So it became necessary to come up with something that will be the icebreaker for those two scenarios. The parents feel inhibited to have certain kinds of discussions or conversations with their children and young people. And the children and young people themselves also inhibited about having some kind of conversation. But these conversations need to be made. They need to be had. Conversation around sexual and reproductive health issues, conversations around substance use and abuse issues, conversation about gender issues, whether you're talking about gender-based violence or gender discrimination, whatever issues around gender, those conversations around sibling rivalries, the climate change, public health issues, all those conversations need to be made by you, had by you, to hear about those issues or be able to discuss freely about those issues from you as parents. But over the years, we found out that that doesn't really just happen like that until there's a crisis. Most times, until there's a crisis and they can't be avoided anymore. So I came up with the idea of the Talk Point Family Life Education card game. About 30 years ago, really. Yes. This game had been played from just, hurriedly made cards during sessions, during training, seminars, conferences, to now having them formally, structured, designed, pre-tested. We introduced the very first set of packs about 25 years ago, and then went to the second edition, third edition, and now we're here. It's available globally for everybody. But then we want to get you interested in using it. Because if you've been following us on this program, the Slow Parenting Podcast and live stream, the main ingredient for getting anything done is conversation, is talking, speech, discussions, interrogations. Whether you're setting boundaries or having discussions to agree on boundaries, talk. So we've gone through the entire personalities, yes, of discussions, communication. I have written books. These are the books scrolling behind me here about communication issues and different aspects of communication, what you need to do, your listening skills, your assurance skills, you're getting to know your children. We've gone into all of those, and then we've also talked about parenting and discipline. We've also talked about co-parenting. But in all of those things, one thing is constant: communication. So this game is designed to help that to happen. Where communication is already fluid, it helps it to remain fluid. Where communication is scarce or even non-existent, it breaks the ice. Yes, it's a game. So people will talk. When is their turn? Even that child that normally children like to play. So it's a game. You introduce it as a game, let it remain as a game. Sustain it as a game, even when you are not home. Okay, because the e-version of it, I mean, we have it in 3 versions. They had the card game itself in the packs with cards, and then we developed a workbook, okay, that if you get the workbook version, it's designed in such a way that you could cut out, the playing card themselves from within the book. So I still have the other functions or other uses for the workbook in there intact, and you take the cards and you pack them away, but you could still play game after game. Then you are not home, you are away, you want to still play the game. You could agree on the time to play, and the cards are numbered, they are colored, they are designated against the names or family member groups. But you could say father card number. You could play from anywhere. You could have those discussions from, but most importantly, at home, during youth camp meetings, excursions, school break and play sessions, interactions that are necessary for, intergenerational communication. That's what this card game is designed for. Discussion starters. Basically, there are no right or wrong answers. Every response leads to more discussions. You could pick the same card 10 times and you have 10 different things to say at those different settings. Yes, we've seen this happen over the years. And it's still, so the issue of I don't know what to say, I don't know when to say it, how to say it, out of the window with this card game. Yes, we've seen it happen over the years. And we've introduced it. It's available now at our Shopify store. But outside of just having it at the store, we want to play it here. We want to introduce it as we are concluding on season 9. Like I said, season 10, we would invite families to come and share with us their experiences about playing the card game. And of course, you know about in-house videos, right? Yes. Every episode, starting from this one, we would have videos that take you through different aspects of playing the game, specific cards, specific questions, responses, because we said no right or wrong answers. They get you to start talking. So it will be our tool to continue with talking with ourselves on this program for the whole of season 10. Yes, almost the whole of season 10. But we're just introducing the play with the remaining couple of episodes in season 9. Okay? So, once again, I'm going to take you through the general profile of the game itself. I have said why I invented it, why I introduced it, why we produced it, why it's out there now available, why it has been available over the years, and now it's globally available for families from across the globe to use. Now, the next thing here is, why did we design it? Families play games. You just play games that, well, to while away time, right? To catch fun, yes, to bond, yes, but you play this game now, not just you're playing Ludo or Drought or Snake and Ladder just to somebody win. This game, everybody is a winner. Okay? Communication happens. Information gets shared. Knowledge gets, passed. from your cultural, traditional family values and family etiquette viewpoint. And of course, the legal and statutory, uh, profiles of the society where you live in. Because we believe that parents are in the best position to take their children and young people through who they are. Teachers can do that for you. Social welfare can do that for you. It has to be you. By following, like I said, the statutes of the society in which you live, respecting communication, if you like, uh, dictates, even between parents and their children. There are environments where it's not okay for you to say some things to your children. But this card has been pre-tested. The questions have been pre-tested, been researched to conform with, statutory obligations in communication relationships between parents and their children anywhere within any culture. Okay, and it's that much we have come to know over the years. So, it's available. We don't expect to hear, I don't know what to say, I don't know how to start. Start with the game. Guys, I have a new game. I bought a new game today. Does anybody want to play? Yes, mom, yes, dad. Okay, let's see. Yeah. What kind of game is this? Who wins? Nobody. All of us win. And then you go through the playing manual. You follow the rules. And you start. The game itself is divided into 5 color groups. There are 52 cards in the pack. Okay? The natural member groups in a family all have 10 cards each. When I say natural family member groups, father, mother, children. So the mother cards are purple colored cards. The father cards are the blue colored cards. The children cards are green colored cards. There are 2 other color groups, yellow and red. The yellow colored cards are general questions. They are not targeted at any specific natural family member groups. They are questions about general societal issues, from climate change to social media, general purpose questions that are rarely discussed, but they're challenges that at some point will show up in the family. Okay, so the purple color cards that are directed at mothers are questions that mothers themselves might have been wanting to ask, or that might have broached in one way or the other, but not in ways that would spur the children or the young people on to. For instance, we learn from our own parents, and most of us learn parenting by default. There's no school. So all of these packages, all of these programs, all of these tools, all of these books are to help us walk away from those informal, learning processes to some kind of semi-formalized learning, self-tutoring. But if you're not buying into attending our webinars or through your PTAs or online webinars, you also helped. And then the big one, you could get to become yourself as parents, members of COPANET, that's Concerned Parents Network, a global hybrid community from which you continually leverage mentorship support for all your parenting needs. And then Pipe Global, same thing, hybrid global community for young people to first of all be trained as peer educators, from which they will also continue to leverage mentorship support as they develop and grow and have needs, so they can ask questions, post their own questions, get responses, get clarification from their peers, and then also get clarification and support from mentors, counselors, and facilitators that are professionals and experiential people that are valuable for the two groups that I also mentioned. Okay, so the playing style. There are two playing formats. Families sit, the card decks are divided into the the color groups, face down on the table in each group, not individually, but groups. So there are 5 groups that will be on the table. And the group decides who starts, and it continues clockwise until someone decides to pick a card from the red group. What's special about the red group? That's the only group that could bring the game to a close. So it's either a facilitator that would have been agreed on by the group before they start playing, or if it's an open play, when it gets to your turn, you think that you want to play the devil's advocate and stop the game, you pick a card from the red group. And the card from the red group is an activity. The red group is activity card group. Why are they called activity cards? Because it asks you to go to do something. And the person picking it would have to then go to do what the card says. Okay? But before going to do what the card says, the group would agree on when next they will sit and play, because that person will go perform the activity and come back to give a feedback to the group, which forms another playing session. And it continues that way. Fun, isn't it? It is fun. What's important is nobody feels, hijacked or cornered. Nobody will be judged for what you say, because it's a game. In that process, parents get to understand or have an idea of the kind of information their children and young people have over certain issues. Okay? The children and young people also get to have an understanding of what their parents' reactions would be should certain things happen. Because the parents will ask questions: if this happens, what are you going to do? Okay, you're there. Let's hear you, Dad. Of course, the father or the mother will say what they will do. The children are there to say, Dad, Mom, are you sure you would do that to me if this happens? It's a discussion. Yes, why would you get involved? It's an open discussion. So you know what, not theoretically now, as not an assumption, and you've heard the person say, this is how I'm going to react if this happens. Vocally. There could be objection, but Dad, you can't do that. It was an accident. Well, I didn't know. I wouldn't know. But okay, now you know that you shouldn't go that far. Yes. That's what this game is designed to do. Okay. We're going to quickly play you the in-house video to take you through, okay, because we have a lot of feedback here, responses here already from, or rather comments or contribution from community members here. Okay. I don't want to repeat what you are going to get to hear, and we rather spend that time responding to feedback or comments or contribution from community members. Okay, so let's play the in-house video. This time, guys on TikTok, well, as always, you won't be able to see the video, but you on TikTok, that is, but you can always access the video by going to our YouTube channel on the Slow Parenting podcast or live stream. Okay, the Slow Parenting Podcast on YouTube. You'll find all of our videos there, including the one for today. So let's play our in-house video. When we return, we go to take contribution from community members. Okay.
Dear parents, do you know your family might have been avoiding for years could begin with a tool, a very special tool developed for that purpose, a card game. The T-A-L-Kpoints Family Life Education Card Game. The questions your children and young people may have been too afraid or inhibited to ask, and the questions you might have been too uncomfortable to raise, could surface in the same room, at the same table, without anyone feeling ambushed or judged. That is exactly what the T-A-L-Kpoints Family Life Education Card Game is designed and produced to do. The T-A-L-Kpoints Family Life Education Card Game, created by Dr. Richie Adewusi, the founder of the Universal Parenting Institute, features 52 cards in 5 color groups, designed to spark conversations that could genuinely change the direction of your children and young people's lives, for all the good reasons. If you have never heard of this game before now, please subscribe to the #SlowParenting podcast right now, because this is something every family needs to know about, needs to engage with. Here is how the game works, color by color. 1. The blue cards, father's cards. There are 10 blue father's cards, with questions directed specifically at fathers. They encourage fathers to take active roles in the conversations that many families rarely have until a crisis arises. A card in this group asks, if you discover that your child is a member of a secret cult group, what would you do? Questions like this challenge fathers to think through difficult situations before they happen, while giving their children an opportunity to hear their father's values and wisdom, drawn from the family's culture, traditions, values and etiquettes. 2. The purple cards, mother's cards. There are 10 purple mother's cards with questions directed specifically at mothers. They open up conversations about sensitive issues that are often avoided, even when they might often have lasting impacts on children and young people's lives. A card in this group asks, what is abortion? If your unmarried adolescent daughter is found to be pregnant, what would you do? Questions like this encourage mothers to share their beliefs and experiences in a safe, structured family discussion, before any such crisis situations. 3. The green cards, children's cards. There are 10 green children's cards with questions directed specifically at children and young people. They give children and young people in a family space and voice by inviting them to answer questions that parents might never have thought about asking or bringing up, ordinarily. A card in this group asks, what would you do if any of your parents tests HIV positive and why? Questions like this help parents understand how their children think, while creating a safe space for honest conversations about difficult life challenges and relationship issues. 4. The yellow cards, general question cards. There are 12 yellow general question cards for everyone in the family. They introduce thought-provoking topics that affect every household, and the society in general, but are rarely discussed around the family tables. A card in this group asks, social media is helpful and safe? If yes, state why. If no, state why not. Questions like this encourage every family member to think critically, express their opinions, and learn from one another in a mutually respectful manner and environment. 5. The red cards, activity cards. There are 10 red activity cards in the pack, and they are used to bring each playing session to a close. After the family has spent about 20 to 30 minutes discussing the other cards, the facilitator asks the next player to pick a red activity card. The activity on that card is completed by the family member who picks it, and the group then agree on the next playing session, at which the person who picked the activity card would be presenting his or her findings. A card in this group says, what is peer pressure? Find out more about peer pressure and share your findings with your group. Rather than simply ending the game, these cards encourage families to continue learning and talking together between one playing session and the next. There are no right or wrong answers in the T-A-L-Kpoints Family Life Education Card Game. Every response leads to more conversations, more understanding, and stronger family relationships. Because each playing session ends with a red activity card, every session naturally leads into the next, making this a family resource you can return to again and again. The family that plays together, stays together. For more information and to get your copy, please scan the QR code on your screen or click the link in the comments section. Please join us on our live stream on this topic. We would like to get your feedback on the T-A-L-Kpoints Family Life Education card game. Thank you for watching. If this video is helpful, please like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Kindly share it with other parents who are navigating this, and stay connected with the #SlowParenting podcast community. Please subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a new episode in this series.
Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the video. You could download it, you could, share it as many times as you like. It tells you, well, practically all about the basics of playing the T-A-L-Kpoints Family Life Education card game, okay? And we're going to go into live plays. I mean, inviting real guests to share their experiences about playing the card games in their families, so that you can do it as well. It will benefit you. That's the whole idea, to get you to have an understanding that it's helping some people, real people. Okay, so the remaining part of this season is for us to introduce other aspects of the game. But from season 10, we would have live guests to share, families to share with us their experiences about having played or about using the card game itself. So as promised, we're going to go into looking at contributions from community members. At this point, okay. The first contribution we have here says, what was the funniest thing that happened when you played the card game with your family? Funniest thing. I would rather, what's funny? What is actually funny is that everybody in my family believed that they could answer. They were afraid to discuss anything, and that's true. That I will share what happened somewhere else. Okay. At about the earliest parts or points of introducing this game, incidentally, in churches during services, and I'm talking about Pentecostal churches in Nigeria I'm just like 28 years ago. There was a particular incident, and some families that would have gotten the card game before that particular incident will be like, this question, we can discuss it, we can talk about this kind of things with families. Those questions that you say are difficult, you're uncomfortable about them, those are actually the reasons for which this game is designed, especially questions around sexual and reproductive health. Those conversations need to be had, and you are the best person as parents in positions to have those conversations with your children. Yes. It took time, but over time, people came to that realization, and then churches were sending invitations. Please come to talk to our families. It's our family. We come to talk. And we're like, okay, we'll come to talk in your church, but then we'll have to take the pulpit, meaning I'll take the sermon. Yes, if you agree, I'll take the sermon. Luckily, I was an ordained minister. I think I went to the Bible college as well. I had a postgraduate degree in theology, so I understand the Bible. I work in the church, so I could take the pulpit. In one particular church, after the sermon, around family relationship, that would always be the topic in any of the churches I had to go then. It came to time for interaction. So church members had to sit in families, and then they had the card game. And I needed a volunteer family to play the game that every other group, in the church would hear. And so the family had the microphone. The pastor volunteered his family. Okay. And the parents picked cards, made their contribution, the children, it got to the turn of as at that time, that boy was around 6 or 7 years old. He picked, I think, card number 2. And what was card number 2 for the green group, which is for the children? Card number 2 says, what is dating? The parents said, no. He doesn't know anything about that. He can't answer. We'll answer for him. He said, no, wait. As I was still on telling them, wait, the child said, no, I would answer. The church went quiet. Everybody wanted to hear what this 6 or 7 year old boy had to say about dating. And the boy goes, dating is when a boy and a girl go out. The pastor and the wife looked at themselves, looked at the siblings. What's going on here? And I said, well, now, parents are always afraid of what the children are not saying or not even thinking. You should be concerned about what they are saying and then be able to address maybe what they are not saying that needs to be said. That's what this card game does. That's what it's supposed to do. So in facilitating the playing session, and I said to them, yes, he is right. Not that there are right or wrong answers. Now, your concern is not, yes, there's nothing wrong with young people going out on dates. The child has said, yes, this is what date is, which is true. But what should be of importance now is what do young people, which is not asked in the question. What is dating? Open-ended. The child had answered. So what should concern you as parents? What happens or what should happen or what should not happen during dating? Dating itself, there's nothing wrong with a boy and a girl who are friends to sit in a fast food shop, take a burger, drink Coke, and walk home. Nothing wrong. Or buy it from the fast food place, sit in a park, talk about class, and go home. Nothing wrong. So that question was a window, a doorway to now discussing do's and don'ts of dating. Okay, so it's not funny, but it was funny because the reaction of the church, not just the parents, were like, what do you know about dating? Parents are already thinking beyond what the child. Simple. What is dating? Okay. The second contribution from a community member here said, if there is a family with only one father and one child available due to divorce or separation, how can they play the game? Good question. There's an option, 2 options really. The father the mother, whoever is the single parent in this case now, whether it's a single mother, single father, the single parent could choose to play, which is what the person is doing already in other issue areas about taking care of that child or those children, play mother and father. When it gets to the role of the card of mother, pick, if you are father, you pick it and you respond, you continue to play, or remove the pack that is for mother if it's a single father, or remove the pack that is for father if it's a single mother. Of course, it shows that things are not balanced. No, things are not balanced in single parenthood. It's a challenge. Okay? And that's why this book is there, the one that is scrolling behind me now, Effective Co-Parenting. Okay? we advocate for there to continue to be communication relationship between the co-parents, even if there's a divorce or separation or whatever. Yes, somehow find a way to communicate for the sake of the children. In that case, when you're playing that game, you could choose a time to play the game for the sake of the children, that the other parent could be on the phone and it's a turn, is okay, card number, this, what do you say? The child is listening. It's for the well-being, it's for the emotional, even physiological well-being of that child. It's not, that has nothing to do with the two of you parents. It's for the benefits of the child. Okay, so those are the two likely options that you could use to play the card game in the situation of single parenthood, and you want to use the card game. Okay. 3 here says, can grandparents join in? Yes. Grandfather, you pick the card that is for fathers. Grandmother, same thing. Yeah. Or you could restrict the grandparents to the general question cards. Yes. Okay. Can you, sorry, have you thought of creating a board game like this? No. From day one. And now, no. And I will say why. In creating this game, it was intentional to come up with an idea of a game that would not require any additional resource to play. Not battery, not electricity, not any devices, not any dice, not any cups, not any board, just the cards. Why? Cost. 2, convenience. 3, ease of play, which is close to convenience anyway. Okay, so having to think about board game, you dice and other things will be added, and those would also add costs. Now, the other reason is this. The focus of this card game is communication, not winning. Nobody wins. Everybody, no single person wins. Everybody playing are supposed to be winners. Board games, there is a beginning, there's also a beginning, there's an end. But then the beginning and end, and on this one, the end of this leads to another session. You have to go to do something, come back and tell the family. If you go to do that research 10 times, you find 10 different things. So you are giving 10. So it can't be, oh, we did this question last time, it's not relevant anymore. No. First, you can't have found out everything about, let's say, child marriage, if that is the question that the assignment or the activity that you are supposed to go find out about. You can't find everything about child marriage in one, and you can't discuss all of it in one sitting. So there will always be room for new information, new sessions. Okay, so there was and there's still no plan for improving this game by way of adding an additional playing resources to it. No. Improving the card game by way of additional discussion starters, questions. Improve discussion starters, questions. That's why you have first edition, second edition. This is the 4th edition. Let me tell you, in this 4th edition now, up to the 3rd edition, there were no questions. There were no questions about climate change. There were no questions about social media. Okay? But in this 4th edition, such questions are there. The number of cards in the pack also did not increase. It's the same 52. Say. What happened is you review the questions that are there and see the ones that are maybe not really relevant. We have some other development issue areas that are much more dominant, or if you like, important than maybe some. So you review the card game and review the questions, which is what we've done, which is what we do periodically. Okay. Yeah. but not to, oh, can this game become electronic? We're thinking of developing an app, okay, for playing the game online. But then that will now be device-based. That would now mean that you now have to depend on which defeats part of the, reasons and the needs, for developing the game the way it is. It's for bonding, okay? Devices have been seen. We have had so many episodes about device addiction and all of that here. So we want you to stay away from this game helps that to happen. You're playing a game. You're not looking at the computer for anything. It's there. Whether you have the pack version of it, or you have the workbook version of it, you rely on playing that game. It's you, the family or the group playing, and the tool itself, the pack of the card game or the card game workbook, okay? Another member here says, are families to stop playing after all the questions have been covered and all activities are done? I think I've taken that in what my response for the last question. No, it can't ever finish. Now, remember, we're talking about responses that are, founded in your culture, your tradition, your family values, your family etiquette. All families are not the same. All traditions are not the same. All cultures are not the same. So a response about what is prostitution, for instance, in one family, in one culture, will not be the same, might not be the same, will not be the same in another culture. How a particular family will handle an issue of adolescent pregnancy, or, or teenage pregnancy, for instance, will not be the way another family would answer. So there's no one size fits all response. So because of that, it is qualitative, not quantitative intervention. It's behavioral. The way you feel now, even the same family, about how you react today, about finding out that your child is involved in a cult group, will not be the same way. Your response to that child in primary school will not be the same response to that child in secondary school or in college. So all of those, make up the lifespan or the usefulness of the card game. Because it's qualitative, it's a tool to measure for behavioral change, behavioral learning. Qualitatively, it can't expire. Yes. Whilst in reviewing for subsequent editions, we could add, we could change, we could review questions to include, for instance, a card that had only one question could then have A, B, C, D in it, but it's still 52 cards. Okay? Another community member here said, how could I possibly get my teenage daughter who doesn't care about anything like this to agree to play this game? Negotiate. I'm sure some of you already know I'm going to say that. In everything, negotiate. Learn how to negotiate, because as you are negotiating with that child, you're also teaching that child negotiation skills. You're also teaching that child assertive skills. You're being assertive subtly, right? We need to play this game. Negotiate. Okay? There must be something that child wants to do or wants or whatever. It's okay, let's play for 5 minutes. Then we can go and do that, or you can go and do that. Oh, yes. From breaking that ice for playing, I'm not saying, that's not bribe. That's not blackmail. No, it's not. We say negotiate. Any other thing you call it, you're on your own. No, it's negotiate. Okay? Yes, negotiate. There's something else that you might not know happens. Pick up the card game. Leave it where the child will readily see it. If, out of curiosity, will pick it and open it and begin to look at. Yeah. At some point, maybe an interest would come. If the interest doesn't come, you still want to have those discussions. Now go into negotiation. I saw you the other day looking at the card game. You want us to play it to, see, have you, okay, mom, let's try. At some point, the child would, level up with you if you level down to the child, okay? Thankfully, the last community member here says, what is the earliest age a child should be involved in the game? And what is the age where children become too old for the game? Children and young people can never become too old for the even you as parents, you can never become too old because you don't have, there's no finality in any answers about growing, about development. There's no finality in anything. Okay? Even in technology, at some point, I use that analogy, I think it was in the talk therapy. Okay? At some point, you needed a whole house to house a computer unit. From the whole house, he went to one room in that house to house a computer. From that, he went to desktop. From desktop, we came to palm top. From palm top, we have now what? Mobile devices. So nothing in life is static. Okay? Now, as to at what age, at what point should children begin? For as long as the child could talk. For as long as the child could read, it could even become part of what could help your child to learn how to read and comprehend. Okay? Because if you are playing, if let's say you're a family of 5, you have to, you have a preteen, maybe, let's say a toddler, a preteen, maybe a teenager in your family. The toddler, of course, would not be at the same, the response and that the child will give, the understanding will not be the same, but it will develop. But it gives that child the opportunity to learn, to contribute, to discuss, to have that communication relationship with you started. Yes. It doesn't end. You don't stop talking. My mother never stopped talking to me about, even as an adult, even have you eaten? How was that food prepared? How long did you keep it? My mother never stopped asking those questions, even from afar, even over the phone, till she passed on. My dad never stopped asking how you are doing. But you said you were starting a project. How did it go? How are you doing with your staff? They never stopped. So it wouldn't stop. It's the quality, it's been said, it's not my making. I didn't invent it. One of my academic mentors from afar, I never met him. If you like, I got acquainted with his research work and his books and all of that. Professor Wilbur. He says communication has no life of its own, but what the people in a communication relationship, put into that communication relationship. So it's up to you to decide at what point that child, you're playing already with the other siblings. So you have created the environment for a communication relationship. So that child that is just beginning to talk will flow into it smoothly. And it continues. And it needs to continue. Okay? Wow. We have eaten up all the time already, but I've enjoyed this. I hope you have. Okay? We'll continue to talk about the T-A-L-Kpoints Family Life Education card game. Like I said, it's available now at our Shopify store. If my guys would, show it to you, the QR code for the store is on your screen. You'll see it. And of course, all the other books on parenting are available in the same Shopify store. The other information I have to repeat, okay, is that we are going to be taking a break from the Slow Parenting podcast and program from the 29th of July, which is next episode. And then we would come back on the 26th of August. So we're taking a break to redesign because, like I said, we're going to make efforts to bring families live or to the program to share their experiences. Because again, what's the use of your reading a book if you can't share what you've learned, okay, with your family? And then, of course, by extension, encourage other families to do what you have found useful in your own family. That's the direction we are going to go in the subsequent seasons for the Slow Parenting podcast and live stream. Okay, so please visit our Shopify store. Okay, visit us, pick up the other merchandise for t-shirts, caps, and other stuff, and the card game, and of course, any of the books that you may want to gift somebody or read for yourself. So I want to say thank you for being part of our show today. It's been interesting. As always, my name is still Richie Adewusi. I'll be here again one more time this season, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, US and Canada, and 7 p.m. West Africa time, including Nigeria, on the Slow Parenting podcast on YouTube, and then the Parenting for All season live stream on TikTok. Thank you so much, guys. See you on the next one. Bye-bye.